Hello, my name is Eve Robinson. On behalf of Crowd Pleasers Dance, it is my honor to share with you some ideas in how to make your dream team a reality this year. Keeping your dream team motivated and moving forward. Embrace the unknown. Learn to love change. Most things will likely need to be modified as we begin to navigate through this school year. Every element of how things used to be is not realistic during a pandemic. Make the change fun. Accept the mindset of retraining your brain by challenging and utilizing your leadership team of officers and socials to find ways of incorporating your theme, goals, motto, and team's personalities into your new norm. Happiness is contagious. Create the culture and set an environment where you and your officers and your team hold each other accountable for happiness and attitudes. If there is one thing we can take away from last year, is that we need to embrace every moment that we get to spend together. Keep them excited. Having your dancers engaged is pertinent to your team's success. Adding the new challenges of social distancing, digital learning, face masks, and possibly even a modified school schedule will change the way your classroom runs and what your daily routine may look like. You are resilient, and together we can do this. Create a light and fun atmosphere for your dancers so that the weight of the situation isn't holding your program back. Remember, this won't last forever. Keep things simple and manageable. Here is an example of a virtual schedule for when you're teaching online only. Keep it realistic and keep your daily itinerary regimented so that your students are comfortable. Include your warm-up, your flexibility of your splits, incorporate intermittent games and activities, perhaps a chant or a fun getting to know you activity. Include conditioning so that when you come back to a face-to-face environment, that your bodies are trained. Include your technique and your skill building. Again, those intermittent games to break up the monotony of being right in front of the screen the whole time. Review material every day so that you're building those foundations so that when they come back, they know the drill and they can move on, including previous choreography, stand routines, how you get in and out of the stand, your fight song, etc. Make sure you're giving them new choreography so that they're stimulated and excited. And then always end your practice with something motivational, whether it's a positive team meeting, you're talking about your theme, your goal, your objectives, and reminders. End it positive so they're excited to come back the next day. Here are some virtual game ideas. Keep it silly and easy so that every student can participate. Silly socks, crazy hair, mismatching, colors by grades, funny hats, Disney days, dressing up like a holiday from your birthday month, including your favorite teams as dress-up days, wearing their jerseys, or even your team name. Those are things that your students will get excited about coming to dance class for. Fun virtual games for intermittent breaks. Have your kids grab their favorite stuffed animal. Show off their pets. Finding who has the most unusual pet. Finding a childhood or baby pictures that are hanging on their walls. Have them all grab their water bottle and eat a snack together and see who has the same snack. Incorporate ways of doing your fight song and your alma mater in fun ways where they can turn it on and off their screen. Playing the silly wedding game where you get to know your director by guessing who drinks water in the morning, who drinks coffee, who always wears a certain color tennis shoe. Just fun ways to see who knows who more on the team. Having them grab items that start with the first letter of their name. You could do the 20 questions where you put something in a bag and they have 20 questions trying to figure out what's in the bag. There's also dance telephone where you can have girls do a movement and the next girl does a movement, adds one on, and they're all trying to learn it, kind of like the game Simon. Those have been really successful when we did virtual learning this summer with my program. Here's some virtual assignment examples. What we really want to remember is that we want to do more than homework. We want to keep it fun. So for your assignments, allow your students to create and complete their assignments using a format that they love. Whatever app they like to use, videos, if they want to do a slideshow, if they want to present something in Google Classroom or Canvas, whatever format your district allows. Give them the assignment, but let them turn it into you in a way that shows their originality and their creativity. Have your students submit dance material and then allow the team to vote on the winner. So if students want to teach a combination virtually, let them submit something and let the team pick what they want to learn. That will really showcase some leadership qualities in your program, as well as give different students opportunities to lead by example. Have squad challenges for merits or bragging rights on who completed all their assignment early or who reached a certain goal for assignments. You can also have evening technique or conditioning rehearsals and let different officers or leadership lead those in a format that everyone takes a turn, and it's not something where they're obligated every week, but just reward the students who do participate. Here is what you can do if you have students who are face-to-face and virtual at the same time. I think the greatest challenge is going to be creating unity between the groups, because there's going to be an element of separation because they're not going to be together all the time. So I think things that are super important is reminding your whole team that everyone's work and contribution to the program is significant and important. The girls working at home in a confined space and the students in the classroom still working in a confined space, everyone working is essential in your success. Monitoring the dancers who are participating virtually, whether it's synchronous or not, and providing feedback so they feel that their work is valued. If you have students who are submitting work through homework because they can't be there in person, comment, give them critiques, give them feedback. Let them feel your love by giving them your words and your praises. Even if it's constructive criticism on movement or technique, give them those feedback because they're not gaining it from you in the classroom. Have your groups projected on the wall if you can, with a Promethean board or just a big white wall or a TV, whatever your school will allow. Make them as big as you can if they're able to do it virtually synchronously. If you're able to, allow your students who are synchronous to watch your face-to-face dancers and vice versa. Your face-to-face dancers watch your synchronous. Let them encourage each other and cheer each other on. That will build a beautiful camaraderie between your dancers. Create fun virtual awards for both groups. Whether it's something most dedicated, hardest worker, we have a Sweaty Sally award for the girls who are dripping in practice, whatever you can do to motivate them, that's easy. And then give them bragging rights. Snap that picture and post it on social media so that your dancers feel pride in the work that they're doing. Again, whether it's virtually or if they're doing face-to-face. Here are some face-to-face games that you can play. These are super appropriate for social distancing so everyone can feel safe. Charades is a great game that can be done super quickly in between practice or at the end. Pterodactyl is a game where the dancers look at each other abruptly and say pterodactyl and squawk in funny ways. That's super fun. The Ellen game, Heads Up, where you hold the paper above your head and your team tries to give you hints as to what is on the paper without using the word. Simon Says is good. Your director can lead that. I Spy, using colors and shapes in your room, is great. You can also celebrate silly holidays. There are tons of silly holidays that you can talk about in your rehearsal and wrap up. You can do a hot dog day. You can do a kazoo day and give everyone a kazoo. You can do a Lego day, bubblegum day. There are all kinds of things that you can celebrate that are fun and silly that keep things light and entertaining. Social media. Show off your dancers. This is a great way for you to show how social media can be used to promote all of the things that your dancers do besides dance team outside of the classroom in a positive and uplifting way. We preach to our dancers all the time how important the way that you speak and portray yourself on social media is. This is your opportunity to lead by example. Show them how you can highlight just beautiful, positive things that they do. Introduce your team members with a bio and let them pick their favorite ice cream and their favorite holiday and their favorite quote. Get headshots of everyone and utilize it for birthday. We do birthday beauties and birthday bows for our gentlemen. Highlight your virtual and your in-person awards that you give weekly or monthly. Celebrate your differences. Celebrate the dancers who have jobs after school and take pictures of them in their working environment and post that on social media. Think about the groups and activities they're involved in on campus. Highlight those commitments that they follow through with. Get up all the pictures of your kids who have dogs and do a dog slideshow and post it on social media. Kids who are in student council, dancers who earn their driver's license, their before picture with their braces and their after picture when they get them off that day, dancers who have siblings that go to school with them or even on the dance team, things that they do outside of the classroom to volunteer, instruments they play, or if they're a singer, things that are academically important, if they get inducted to NHS or another honor on their campus or scholarships. And then those big birthdays, your quinceañeras, your sweet 16s, your 18th birthdays. We want to just highlight all of those in a positive light. Bigs and littles. We're going to have to get a little creative as you host your big and little reveal this year. These ideas that I'm going to give you can be done virtually or in person with appropriate social distancing. You can do them face to face, you can do them at a home as a surprise, or you can even do them virtually. So the puzzle pieces involve getting a large poster board and cutting it like a puzzle, and then the dancers join them so that they see that they fit together. Very similar as a best friend necklace or something like that. That can be done in any capacity. You can create videos, and those videos can be presented to the littles, or they can be done on social media so they can kind of figure out who their bigs and littles are that way. And that can really be done individually because there's so many ways to create a video. Scavenger hunt could be a great way to find out. You can do it by letters, or you can do it by locations to actually meet them in person. I love the idea of pen pals where your dancers can write a handwritten note. I think we get lost with technology and we focus so much on texting and emailing, and we lose the beautiful keepsake of something written by hand in a card, and they could secretly write back and forth, or they could review with a picture. I think that's super special. Decorating a door or yard signs. They could decorate someone's front door, or they could put a yard sign out. You could also go back to the beautiful chalking that we saw in April, and you could chalk your big or little's driveway as well. These are just some ideas and suggestions in ways that you could do it safely and creatively. You could even let your bigs choose the way they introduce themselves to their little, so that everyone gets to do it in the capacity that they feel the safest. Support for success. Collaboration is always the best policy for pathways to success. Please reach out to Crowd Pleasers if you have any questions or if you need any support through your school year. They have such an amazing team, and they will help you in any way possible to make your year the best yet. Reach out to your fine arts directors in your campus administration lead, your principals and your assistant principals, and find ways that they can support you and help you navigate through this as well. They are your go-to person for information, especially in regards to safety. Reach out to your department lead for fine arts. Talk to your district dance family and those of you that are in a district together, whether it's a large district or a small. If you don't have anyone else, reach out to a surrounding district. For my district, my dance family has been so just instrumental in helping me personally get through this situation so that I could be the best person for the fall. We navigated all of our spring together, and we worked all summer to make sure that we were as prepared as possible as we start this fall. Reach out to your colleagues, your friends that teach dance, your mentors, or your high school drill team director. Call and ask for advice. They are absolutely there to help you. We all want to be successful together. I have included my name and the school that I teach at, and my email at the bottom. I would be happy to chat with you about any of these things, hear ideas, bounce ideas back and forth, anything to help make your year success. I think as we move forward, making sure that every dancer is feeling safe and comfortable and their family feels safe and you have support is going to be key in this. So maintain that open mind and working through each challenge that we face this year with a gracious heart so that all of our dancers have the best year and we just make this year absolutely unforgettable. I wish you all the best this year and all the success.
Hi everybody, Crowd Pleasers Dance family. This is Karen Searles and I am talking to you today about some online attendance taking and ways to track engagement digitally while we teach our kids. So I am a dance teacher of 14 years in Round Rock ISD in the public schools, and I'm teaching private also a next-gen digital classroom teacher, where I worked really hard on integrating technology into my classroom, and that love of dance and technology has taken me into a brand new career, starting crazy in the middle of a school closure as an ITS. So wish me luck this year, everybody, just like I wish you luck. I'm very excited to be bringing some ideas to you today, so let's get started. What I have for you today are 5 different ideas rated in your effort level from super easy to a little bit harder. So depending on where your time, energy, and comfort level is with technology, I have a few different choices for you. So let's start with the super easy one that some of it just might seem extra basic, right? Some of our video platforms that we use for our online learning already come with a way to track attendance. If you are in a district that uses Zoom, there is actually a way that you can download the reports from Zoom. So in this link here, which I will obviously be sharing this presentation with you, in the link here, it'll take you to a step-by-step of how you get to your Zoom reports and download your results. Now that one is very simple. You just have to find the right button and you're in. So I'm going to show you a little bit about Google Meet today. A lot of districts are being required just to stick with certain video platforms. And this one during the spring closure was a little bit harder to work with. It wasn't designed to be an educational application. So there weren't as many needs in that video platform. Now it is so popular that obviously we're asking for all of these different features that Zoom has that Google Meet doesn't have. So every day that I've checked, there's actually new ideas that are coming up, new ones added daily. So I'm going to show you the one that I've been able to try. I'll be honest with you, I've tried about 5 different ones. Each time I call a friend and say, can you do a chat with me? I download the results and see what we get. So the one that I've enjoyed the most so far is this red Apple checkmark one called Meet Attendance. As you can see here, there are a plethora of them, and I've tried quite a few of them. You can see each of the ones that say added, and then I did end up removing them. And there's even some features like breakout rooms, attendees. There was another one, Google Meet Plus. There was another one that I tried today. None of them are all working very correctly yet. So for instance, if I have the add-on and the other party that is joining me does not have the add-on, the features that I use don't always work. There was an add-on that I used for a whiteboard. Nobody else could see it except me. There's one that could send out emojis or raise a hand. Nobody else could see it with me. So it's going to take a little trial and error. So I'm going to just show you this Meet Attendance one that I do know that I like and has worked. And there's a few other of these ones that work okay as well. So this Meet Attendance, when you are in Meet, at the bottom of your screen, you have your mute button, you have your video button, your hang up call button. There will also now be a little checkmark button. When you click that, it will ask you, do you want to take attendance? And you say yes. It runs the meeting, and then at the end, you can download your information in a few different ways. So I'm going to show you what some of those look like. So the first one, as soon as I finished my training that I was in, let's actually close this. Let's open it in something else. We'll open it in Photos. Okay, so the very first thing that it showed is a little list right here of everybody's name. Showed me how many participants and showed me what time it started, a 1 o'clock call. So this just popped up right away. I took a screenshot because I didn't know what the other things were going to look like. There was 3 different download choices. So the second thing was that it downloaded an Excel spreadsheet. And again, you can see the arrival time. There's a little bit of time difference between a few different people on there, but it shows your arrival time right in an easy Excel sheet that could obviously also be copied to Google. And this was the fancy part. You could also get this printout, this HTML printout. Again, had all of their names with little check marks that showed what time they were in. And then if anybody exited and rejoined again, it would alternate colors. We were there, nobody left early, right? So if it was pink, the student missed the entire class where they joined up and then they disappeared. So I haven't been in any meetings where somebody disappears and jets out, but you can see it started here and ended here, and it shows green when they were present, when they joined, and then if somebody went away, it would show again. So you can have this huge summary of what your attendance looks like. So if you are a Meet user, there is help on your way. It's coming, right? We're making it. And that's the one example that I have found to be my favorite so far. So I would just keep recommending, when you wonder, is there a new app, a new add-on out there for Meet? Go check, because they're trying. People are really trying to make some good ones, just like how they added that grid one in the spring. Okay, let's go back. And the other option is obviously taking a full page screenshot. Let's say you forgot to press the attendance button and you just need that moment. Like, take that screenshot right away. Get those faces, write it down later. But at least that way you have that opportunity to not have to go back and say, I cannot remember if Karen was there at all. I couldn't even see everybody. There's been a lot of talk, of course, about students not necessarily feeling comfortable at home with showing where they are learning. So even if they didn't have to have their camera on, but if you helped everybody have a profile picture or change their profile picture to a Bitmoji and take a picture that way, so that they don't have to feel uncomfortable showing their surroundings. So super simple idea. Number 1, it's already built in for Zoom and Meet. Your so that was super easy. Our next idea is our easy level. I'm going to call it Sheet Savvy. There are lots of different Google Forms that are out there, Google templates that can be used to track attendance. Last year, I created a full attendance one that could track whether they dressed out that day, if they just had their shirt, if they just had jeans, gum, hair, jewelry, and it could actually calculate the grades for me. So you can do some really fancy things. I'm going to show you just some simple templates for taking attendance, for tracking attendance, so that you can remember easily, especially if you have to go submit it into your attendance tracking system. So we're going to click on this one. It's going to force you to make a copy. And this one is nice because it's very easy to use. It's super customizable. So it's loading here. So you can have, different courses at the bottom. So you just duplicate your tab and you can have all of your attendance and all of your records in one place. You can enter your names. Obviously, it's pretty easy to copy and paste into a Google Sheet. You can also remove certain days. So if you are in alternating certain days, you can go ahead and remove entire columns. Also, if you change a date on one, it will also help. This one does not help. Sorry, I played with a few of them, but you would have to change all of them. You could easily change that formula and drag it across, and then you wouldn't have to change each one individually. But it did help change from the top to the bottom your date, your number date, and your day of the week. So if I have Karen in here, I have some different codes. And what you do is you come to the key. These are the preset codes in this one. Present, late, absent, dropped, left early. I was thinking about it too of what if we just kept late as left late, early as left early. We could add another one. Maybe I say a 1 and a 2. And I could say this one means like they came for 10 minutes. And then if this one, Minties, that was beautiful. 10 minutes. And this one was 20 minutes, like how early they left. You could come up with any kind of keys that you want. Then when I come back to my sheet, if I put L, it's going to populate my little L. I can put P, L, E, 1, right? So any of my codes are going to be in there. If I accidentally enter something that's not a code, it's going to give me this little red flag, and it's going to say, hey, that's not in a key. Add it if you want it, or you made a mistake. Now, the fun part is, let's say I'm late, I'm present. When I come all the way to the end of my dates, and you could take out any of the dates you want, it's going to count in these columns. And you could add as many columns as you wanted based on your key, right? How many times was I late and how many times was I absent? That way, as you enter, you don't necessarily have to do the counting. You come down here and you say, like, Karen is always late, or Karen has been absent 10 times and, whatever amount of time has gone by. So super easy to be able to track what's been happening with those kids if they're leaving early, especially with video. It's so hard to know what's happening. So if you take some sort of attendance at the beginning and you take some sort of attendance at the end, you can know who left early. If you don't want to double duty, you make your first attendance can just be your attendance that you have to submit for your school, right? So for instance, mine is called Teacher Access Center. I could start my class by entering attendance in there. And then when I do an exit attendance, I could mark whether they were still here or not. That way, if I have to go back and change their absence later, or I need to track somebody who's always there at the beginning and never there at the end, you've got a new conflict to manage and deal with, which is a lot. But of course, we would know if they were exiting the room all the time, and we'd still have issues to deal with at school. So we need to know that there's some issues happening while they're learning at home as well. So this is one attendance template that I found. There are some other ones out there. I have one more I'm going to show you a little bit later with a different idea, but super simple. I took all of my attendance and dress coding and everything in an Excel sheet last year and really loved it. Okay, so sheet savvy, right? What's really nice is that you can create all kinds of formulas. You can easily use it to check at the beginning and the end. And of course, it's easy to share your data with families and admin about what's happening. Idea number 3. It's called There's an App for That. So this one has, I'm going to say, low intermediate level. There's going to be something already set up for you, but you're going to have a lot more data entry to get ready, and you have to become familiar with that program. So here are some of the favorites. I do a lot of research about recent blogs, especially things that were happening in the spring closure, and these are kind of some of the top favorites. Now, just like most apps, are they initially free? And sometimes some of them, if you want additional features, have additional payment? Yes. So just so you know that some of these you might want to see, let's say you have a certain some of these might have a certain limit to the number of classes you can have in the free version, things like that. So definitely something to check out before you get all the way hung up on one and get started, and then you realize, oh no, it can't do what I want it to do. So ClassDojo has been a favorite for a long time, so I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. So I'm going to show you another one. This one's called My Attendance Tracker. And I set up just sort of a fake class for us to work in today. And this one also has an app. It's also online. It also starts free. And it's one of those that kind of like a startup where they'd love for you to help pay for them to be able to add more features in the future, but it does start free. So I'm going to just say manage your classes. And you'll see I just set up one fake class here, Dance 1. And I have 2 kids in there, right? I have not played with the assessment features for this one. I was simply looking at attendance and accountability. If I need to take attendance, I can change to my different classes here. You can also add a note. If I need to say, Casey was 20 minutes, I can say mark all as present, and it can mark everybody. Sometimes I like to do that when I say mark all as present, and then I just go through and uncheck or move the few who weren't there, right? And then I can press save, and then I can see attendance was taken and saved for my Dance 1 class. You add students here, you add, so I could add to Dance 1, add another student. Oh, sorry, it already is ready, isn't it? And there we go. So it's really easy to add a student in or out. So again, this could be another way, if you're not a Excel fan, this is another way that you could document if you're trying to sometimes check in at the beginning or at the end, things like that. There are some options for parents and grades. You saw the assessment feature. I have not played with all of those yet, but I do like the management of it all. Teacher kit. And I'll just click on them quick so you can see, because sometimes just seeing that icon really helps. This was a very popular one that could also track a lot. And the other one was called Class 1, 2, 3. Again, you can see free classroom management loved by millions. So there is a lot happening. And all these you can do online as well as with an app. It's just a matter of if it has the features you like and getting everything set up. And then the other thing you can do is you could use a Google Sheet, and you can make your own app using all kinds of different things. But one of the favorite easy one that's out there that swears you can make an app in 5 minutes from a Google Sheet. It's called Glide. Glide you can make from your own sheet once you get used to the features that happen in Glide, or there are also some templates out there. So if you remember, I said I was going to show you another Google template to use for attendance. You can find some here. So here's one attendance template. When I search these, here it is down here in the left. Build an app in seconds, so the template. So there's a whole bunch of little different apps. You might find something else that could be useful. Do you see one right here? Performance reviews. Haven't checked it out, but could be interesting for us, right? I'm not sure what COVID tracking is. Maybe that's certain symptoms if you needed to help track things. So all kinds of different templates, but there's one, if you saw at the top right here, called Attendance Tracker. So I'll just show you what it looks like, right? Where what's great about it is not only does it become an app on your phone, but you can still edit the Google Sheet online and they talk to each other. So if I'll just say preview template so you can see what it would look like. So if I change it in one place, it also changes it on the other. So we'll just do an example. If I mark Dan and David and Jack, and then I go on my phone and I look, it's been changed on my phone. So they talk to each other immediately, and vice versa. If I mark it on my phone, I can see it online. If you want to get a copy of the template, you click here. It'll make a copy for you. Again, it's a Google Sheet. And then you can customize. So this is how you customize the app. So there's different features, there's different layouts, there's different things that you can add to the items. I'm not sure exactly what those are. And then what your titles of your data is. Over here, you can add various tabs at the bottom. So right now, this one's just called attendance. You can see right here. If I add an additional tab, let's just call it, right now it's called new tab, and you can see it showed up down here. So now I have attendance and then I have new tabs. So I could change that to various classes that could all be at the bottom. So now it says dance 1. And then here is your spreadsheet of where that information is coming from. And again, if I uncheck, so if I uncheck David and Jack, and I go back to my tabs, and use Friday the 9th, now David and Jack are unchecked. So it all sort of speaks with each other. And then if you want to edit the sheet, you come here and it's going to open that up for you. And here's your Google Sheet. All right, and see how I had David and Jack unchecked on Friday the 9th. So everywhere that is working, what's on your phone, what's on the Glide app creator, and what's in your Google template all speak to one another. I'll be fully honest with you, when I got started playing with this, I did have a little trouble renaming the tabs to actually work the way I wanted them to. So that's why it did end up being a little more, it took a little more time than I thought it was going to take, right? Because I changed it in the attendance taker, but I also needed to come over here and change the title of that column. That's where I need to put this student one's name. Okay. So just because the name at the top of see how the name at the top right here is Adrian, I needed to change my choices students listed. So it did become a little bit confusing. As soon as I figured it out, it would be workable, but definitely something that I always look for. Or find a nice, easy tutorial and walk you on through it. The next one. So up in effort a little bit is the idea of class ticket. So we all know about starting warm-ups when somebody enters a room. We've all heard of exit ticket. The class tickets are going to make sort of a BME form, or a beginning, middle, and end form. If you are trying to really track what kind of engagement is happening, are they even out there anymore? If they turn off their video camera, did they turn on Netflix? Did they leave to go to the store and they just left the video running? You want to be able to see ways that you can help keep them engaged, especially those who are less comfortable having their cameras on. Or if you're working in small groups, or especially if you're asynchronous, as far as the video goes, if you have different things that you can create to help track their progress, that's great. If you're asynchronous, this doesn't really work for you. There's some other ideas. You could use things such as EduPuzzle, where you put in a video, usually a YouTube video, and it will stop. Let's say at minute 1, you stop, it makes it stop, it asks a question, and the student has to answer the question, and then before they're able to continue and watch the rest of the video. So there's some other ideas that are out there. If you are working asynchronously, this would be for being something synchronous. So think about this like a warm-up and an exit ticket combined. Some various ideas for that. Let's do simple first. You could do a Google form. Send the link to the students through your LMS, whether it's Google Classroom or Schoology or Canvas, Blackboard, whatever method, you get that link out to the students and they open up the form. And throughout your lesson, you're going to throw in, let's do something real easy. Throw in a keyword. Okay, 10-minute check-in. I want you to stand up and take a stretch, and I want you to enter your favorite breakfast food. And then you start again, another 10, 20 minutes in there. Everybody, make sure you take a drink of water and tell me your favorite show on Netflix right now. So they're not submitting the form until the end of class. And they won't know what, you just put question 1, question 2, question 3 on the form. They don't know what your question is going to be, so they can only do it if they are live. So it is simply a participation check-in. It is not something that a student who is absent has to make that. They are just being absent. They are already losing their points for not being there. You could also use it as a check-in as you go. Teach about plies, and then ask a question about should you keep your heels on the floor or off the floor during a demi-plie, and then they have to answer that question on the spot. And at the end, you could just say, everybody type in code word releve, so that you don't even have to see what's happening on those forms, right? You just make sure everybody's got the same word in there. So there's so many ideas where you could have that form ready, and throughout your lesson, practice the 20-20 break, which is every 20 minutes, take a break for at least 20 seconds. It helps keep us on focus. I think we've all sat through way too many meetings that we could definitely have used the 20-20 method. But the other best part is not only does that help with the attendance to know if they're paying attention, if they're listening, if they're with you, and if they're there from beginning, middle to end, but it also can check for understanding, right? Are they understanding the materials? So if you ask the question about demi-plie and half the class answered it wrong, you've got to come back and show that again. And then also it can help with the SEL, right? It can help with the social emotional learning to get to know a little bit about your students. Be careful about some of the questions you might ask just because of everything everybody's going through right now, but it could really help you to get to know them. If they put in a bunch of despondent answers, you know that student might need some help. If that student enters in very maybe broken English, you can tell, okay, this student might need some support, because a lot of that is not going to happen at the beginning of this year, especially when they're trying to learn and do everything online. And it could definitely help you with that student maybe needing to have a different idea. And then, of course, it's very easy to track student data, and it can be very passive where, like I said, type in red, type in blue, type in green, or it can be very interactive where they're telling you things or asking you questions or things like that. You can even turn it into where they're participating in the class. Like, what do you want to see happening next week, right? And so they feel that they get a little bit of ownership happening in the class as well. So that's class tickets. And our fifth idea is voting, right? And this one does take a little bit more of an effort level. This one is advanced when it comes to setting up and being prepared. Your Google form, if you make a Google form in idea number 4, you can use, and you just call it question 1, 2, 3. You can use the same Google form every single time. It'll already timestamp it for you, right? When they enter it, you simply need to make sure that they have to log in or enter their name or their email so you can identify them and maybe want to put in their class. But it can be the same. You can use the same one every time. They just won't know what the questions are. For this one, you'll have to prepare a lot more every time you want to use it. And additionally, all of these actually do have some additional features that cost money. I didn't mean to put like too many symbols. It doesn't mean that they're very expensive, but it just, if you really find that you like it, for instance, one of them, I don't remember which one, but it was $50 for an educator for the whole year. You might have a principal that could give a grant for that. As far as saying, I really want to be able to use this feature, sometimes they can get campus accounts where everybody on campus can use it. Sometimes your district can buy it. So definitely you can always ask, is this a feature we already have? Great. Is it something you'd be interested in buying? Even better. Or is this something I'd really like to use? So just a note on that. So using online polling will have very high student engagement, right? They're going to have lots of things that they can respond to. I'm going to show you an example with Poll Everywhere, which also syncs with Google Slides. So when you go into your Google Slides and you can say manage add-ons, you can add on a Poll Everywhere, where it automatically will take your poll questions and put it into your Google Slides. You still have to run the poll in the Poll Everywhere application, but the question easily shows up where the students can see it in their slides. So Poll Everywhere, the activities. Here's some other activities that I've done before. So let's just go ahead and say create, so you can see what some of these look like. So I've got multiple choice, word cloud, question and answer. I'm just click, as you can see, clickable image, survey, open-ended questions, different competitions. We've got charts, icebreakers, emotion scale. How are you feeling today? Right? That's one of those temperature check-ins. That's very important during our separated learning, our distance learning, to do temperature checks for SEL. If we have a student that is always choosing that red, we got to pay attention to them. Doesn't mean we're always even going to feel in the green. This is probably going to be our general region, and some days we might feel down here, but it's so fast to just stick that out there and have students answering those questions. So you ask your question. Oh, I don't need to activate that right now. Actually, I wanted to keep showing you this. So you have all of these questions, and once you create one, a series of one, I want one multiple choice, I want one word cloud, I want one Q&A, I just keep hitting add another activity. And when I'm done, I hit create, and I've got a whole series of polling questions. For Poll Everywhere, you can use both a web browser or texting. However, for things like, I wanted to do one time a fun map. Where is it? Here we go. Select on map. And I wanted to say, again, an SEL question, a get to know you question. Where are you from? Or where have you lived? Or where's the last place you traveled? Things like that. You can't do that by a text message. So I had to take that out of that particular survey, but I could leave it in one where they're clicking from a browser, and then I could learn a whole bunch about where are they from, right? So some of it has texting and some of it doesn't. Now, if I go back out and show you, I'm gonna edit it. Show you some of the choices. So how people can respond. So I can choose just on a website, or I can say text messaging, take that off. Who can participate? I can only have it be everyone unless I do the paid version, but you can have an auto-generated ID, or you can keep it completely anonymous. If you want it to registered participants who upgrade, you can have them answer only one time or as many times as they like. They can change or not change. And then Moderation is where you have to approve it before it shows. But again, that is an upgraded feature. So I haven't needed it outside when somebody was going to not be in front of me, right? I've used Poll Everywhere many times during faculty meetings and during student classes, but they're all in the room with me. So I knew who was responding. I knew who was on their screens. I knew that they were participating. Even if they skipped a question because they didn't feel comfortable, that wasn't as important to me. They were in there participating. Now it's going to be more important. So that's why you would maybe want to consider the idea of some upgrades. You can also then customize your URL and different things like that. I believe this is the one that was $50 and it compares, here's my free plan, also 40 at a time, which was fine for most of my classes. Sometimes, obviously, some of us had some pretty large ones. Yes, 50 per year. And then it shows what different features, like being able to make different reports and things like that too. So just something to consider. I know none of us have extra money to spend right now, but it's an idea. So some of them can be, we said by text, but you might limit your questions. They can be anonymous or have a name attached. It does give a lot of student choice to the class, right? So you can ask so many different kinds of questions. What kind of music do you like? I mean, there's just so much more that can be out there. And the fact that their answers, when they're generated, can be shown, helps them realize that there's other people across on the other side of the screen that might enjoy things that they enjoy as well. So let me just see if I have an example of some things that have been answered before. We'll do this one. I'm wondering if my responses are still going to show on there. Right, so I still need help with, and then here's the answers in the order that they were coming in, right? I believe I did, here's a word cloud. Having iPads for teacher use is, and the words that were bigger were typed more often, right? So when they start to see, oh, somebody else said this, somebody else did that, somebody else feels this way, somebody else asks the same question that I was saying, it also helps bring a little bit of that community and getting to know each other, even though they might not ever see each other till we ever get back to school, right? If your platform is not as interactive for people to see each other, or if students start to withdraw because of having their camera on. And then here's a few others. CrowdSignal, Slido, probably Slide. And then of course, we're all pretty familiar with SurveyMonkey as well. So they all help collect data, they help temperature check, they help get to know you, they help create community, class culture. And it's obviously very engaging when they're watching other people's ideas generate on the screen. If you want a makeshift way to do some of that voting, create a Padlet. Create a Padlet and make columns on your Padlet and add your questions at the top where they all write their ideas underneath it. You can have Padlet where they have to have their names attached, where they have to log in with their student email so that you can actually make an assessment if you need to count and track participation. Obviously, everybody's favorite out there right now is Flipgrid. You could do that same kind of idea where you make a bunch of different grids on a lot of these conversations or ideas, and students put their answer in video form. So there are a whole bunch of different ones and ways that people can connect out there in the same kind of idea, where you could track if they were present, because they would only know the answer to the question if they were with you. So you could make up some of your own easy ways to do voting that are interactive, that have a visual to help those students stay engaged. I hope that this gave you a few different ideas for monitoring your beginning to end attendance and different amounts of ways that those students are engaged, from very passive, if you're just taking attendance at the beginning, to a lot more interactive, where you're all sorts of places for the students to be together and collaborate together virtually. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. My email is Karen_Searles@roundrockisd.org, and I would be happy to connect with you and share some resources. So I wish you the best of luck out there. I know how hard this year is going to be, but I know that if there's anything that dance teachers are, it's flexible, it's creative, and it's dedicated, right? You are super dedicated, flexible, and creative people, and I know that you will get through this. To get a copy of this presentation with all of the links, I do have it back here. I'll leave you with that. This tiny URL if you want to write it down, or the link to this presentation might be shared. But it's all going to work. So that is my tinyurl.com/y2q96094. And again, good luck, everybody, and take care, be healthy, stay well. You've got this.